Hello, mate, and welcome to Puzzle Combat, where you match three pieces, find yourself a hero with some superpowers, and destroy the enemy. Make as many alliances as you can, and win the game. Talon, Kestrel Clan Spy. My Shriek is a summons of Kestrel minion for all allies with 10% horsepower and 20% inherited from the caster. The minion poisons that target for 129 damage over 3 turns. When it hits them, all allies get plus 16% dodge for 3 turns.
Nice touch.
I'm an idiot. Let's face it.
Howdy, folks. So, guess what today is? It's Catterday! Woot woot! Alright, so wherever you happen to be on this big, beautiful blue orb we call home, I hope you are having a good day. So, I take it from our introduction there that you already deduced. We're going to talk about this one right here, Talon. I really like her. She's a good hero. I use her on defense. She's pretty much become a staple on my defense, so I have started putting a few talents onto her, and I probably will continue with some emblems. Alright, so let's get into her actual hero grade, and it's an A-, and she gets 4s out of 5s across the board. So War Machine, offense and defense, and yeah, like, she's very useful for a lot of different things. So she's an all-around good hero, and there's some weapons that make her even more of a force, which is really cool. And there's some weapons that don't necessarily help her, so I will get into that in a few minutes. So, as my friend Sarah read off, she has minions, and they are not considered direct damage, so keep that in mind for later when we're talking about weapons. But the combination of the stuff that she does is really cool. So your allies get a minion with 10%, in Sarah's word, horsepower, or health points. This is what it actually is. That was so funny. I love that. And 20% attack. So it's pretty good. At the end of every turn, these minions are going to do some damage to your opponent. So that's pretty great, because the more times she goes off, the more minions both herself and the other heroes could have, which means more attack. So it's pretty good. And then you get the poison on top of that over 3 turns to do that damage. So damage over time is always awesome, and this certainly adds to her usefulness. And then the 16% dodge for 3 turns, fantastic for defense, because dodge is king on defense, and Lord knows it goes off a lot on defense. Now I do see it when I use her on offense. I do see the dodge does help. It just never seems to be as much as dodge activates on defense. So, but it is what it is. It's still a good thing to have. And then of course you can put a dodge weapon on her too. So even if she hasn't gone off and used her special yet, she could still dodge because of the weapon that you happen to put on her. So, and I definitely did go all the way with the special skill, so she's up to 10 here, which is great. For a long time she was my strongest hero, which was cool. Very good. I put her on defense right away and have pretty much left her in there, so I really am happy with this hero and quite glad that I managed to draw her. Alright, so she is part of the Merc family. 10% damage when attacking a weaker element. So if you need her for yellow war machines, which I do take her in for every yellow war machine now, she is definitely helpful. I didn't used to take her in on the lower war machines because I just found the minions took too much time to hit at the end of every turn. But when you get into the higher war machines, it's more difficult to keep your heroes alive too. So having her minions there is actually quite helpful because, of course, when the war machine hits, it'll destroy the minions before it starts taking health off your hero. So on these higher war machines, 9, 10s, 11s, 12s and up, she becomes even more useful for that. And it's easy enough to set her off with an energy drink, and then you'll always have minions for the entire battle if you wanted, so that is a bonus for sure. Alright. Also receive 10% extra damage when attacked by a stronger element, so unfortunately, yeah, the war machine's gonna get back at her. But that's okay. She's still good for them. Mercenary heroes also receive bonuses in the Merc event. So when it's yellow bosses, I always have her on there because the combination on the lower stages, I'll take her and Fiona, who is only a 3-star Merc event hero, but that's okay because that means I take 2 in at a time and I'll get that extra 8% attack and defense, which is cool on the lower stages. And Fiona's pretty awesome with the critical chance, and she's fast charging. She's a pretty good 3-star hero, so I like that combination of the two of them together on the lower stages when it's yellow bosses, so that's pretty sweet. I like that Merc event and how they rotate around on the different bosses, so you get to exercise all your different heroes when those events come around. So there's some pretty cool combinations you can work out, of course. I don't think I have any other purple Merc heroes, but I know I use those 2 ladies just to take advantage of that attack and defense once that event is on. Unfortunately, it only happens every other month, but that's okay. It's still a fun one to play. And the color rotation just makes it all that better in my mind. I'm sure there's some people that don't like it, but I love making different hero combinations, see what they can do. And no point in having them sitting on my bench if I can use them somewhere, right? So that's a good one. Alright, so she is Sentry class. Go into the talent grid here. So I do have quite a few emblems I could put on her. And I'm pretty much thinking she is going to stay on my defense for quite a while, so I'll probably start using these up. But this is armor up, which is good after she receives any damage. And that can be helpful for keeping her alive when you're fighting those higher war machines too. So 10, 15, 25% chance of armor up if you go all the way to this node. And I just may with her. Alright, so she's not a direct damage hero. It's considered passive damage, so now these will still add attack points to her stats, so I would still probably go attack and defenses as much as I could. You know, it's not a bad thing to want her to stay alive and go health and defense either, though. This is one of the heroes that you could go either path and it would be benefiting. So Yeah, because usually I'm so staunch on going, okay, this is an attacking hero, so I'm going attack path, and then this is a support hero that does healing or armor or whatever, so I'm going defense and health to keep them alive longer, and she's kind of in the middle. So I do think I am gonna still go attack. I use her so often on events and for war machines and that I still think I want the attack up option more than I do the health and defense option. But yeah, it's weird to come across these ones because normally it's a little more black and white, but either path for her, especially since I use her for defense, I could go defense and health easily, and that would help immensely as well. But I am more than likely going to take this path. So, put up the... there's a health one anyway, along with an attack bonus, so that's cool. Because her stats are decent. Her health is not too bad at all, not too shabby, so... And then... now her average speed is 50 there, so she's already past the 4950 breakpoint where it lowers it by a tile, so she's just into the 10 range to charge. So I think there's a couple purple speed weapons that help her, but there aren't many purple speed weapons. So let's check out the speed on the Talon grid. And that's all the way down here. So that's gonna put her speed up by maybe a tile, which only puts her at 51. So I don't know that speed is necessarily the one to pick here. You get a critical chance bonus here. I would probably opt for the critical chance bonus, considering how much I use her on offense, and I'm gonna want that extra damage. Yeah, I would think I would do that over the speed in this instance. Now, there's only 2 or 3, I think, purple speed weapons, and only one of them goes all the way to 9, which will bump her into another category, I believe. So I just don't think that the speed choice is gonna help her much, but up to you guys. She's definitely worthy of the emblems. Good all-around hero, so up to you guys how you choose to do that if you go all the way down the talent grid. Alrighty, so let's take a look at some of the weapons. Okay, so I have only one purple 5-star weapon still in my roster there, so that's okay. I'm sure I'll get some more at some point. But, oh yeah, see, in my alt account I have this one and the ink explosion, but in this account, my main account here, I only have one. So this is a decent weapon though. 160 health, right on. That's gonna put her at like 1600 and change for her health. That's pretty good. And then 18% critical chance for tile damage on offense. Absolutely good for her. Okay, the bulldozer is the one that I do have, and then there's the ink explosion. So this is resistance. Fantastic for defense, of course, especially if you're against damage over time heroes that will do bleed or poison or burn, and of course master weapons too, so 23% chance to dodge that is alright. And then you got the 9 speed points, so this is one of the only ones that will help her. I believe the other one, other speed, was a weapon of the month. A past weapon of the month. I'm not sure which one. should have looked that up before I started recording. But yeah, it's rare to come by charge speed purple weapons, so this one does help her. So at 50 average, she will go to 59, which does put her into the fast category. So it's past the break point, which is great. And it will drop a tile from 10 to 9 to charge her. It is still 5 ghosted tiles to charge her though, but honestly 5 ghosted tiles is nothing. So it's right on that this will help her. If you have this one, it's a good one to pair her with on offense and defense. Alright, so let's go into my roster here and we'll run through what I have. So this one is fantastic. Like, again, I'm not a fan of the armor damage, but the 18% dodge is sweet. So of course this is the weapon that I do have on her on my defense. You know, if her special hasn't gone off yet, she still has that chance to dodge. So that's really fantastic. Alright, master weapons. So the 2 5-star master weapons, I have the other ones, the 3 and 4-star in my roster here, so we'll talk about them in a second. But the Chroma Reflex is a 5-star purple master weapon, and that's bullet resistance with the armor per turn. And it has not a bad attack stat if that's your option. You don't have any other ones to put on her. That's defensively, that's a decent weapon too. And the other purple 5-star master weapon is the Pulsar, which is a Venom, so it's 70 damage over 2 turns. And that one has a pretty good defensive stat. Now, being that she does not do direct damage, the Venom weapon, the Pulsar, will not help her. It will not stack with her minions. So if you're using her in a purple stack, make sure that Pulsar goes on a different purple hero, so you get the stack ability from the Venom from the poison, and then that way it still stacks on top of her minions. So I guess this is her skills considered kind of a passive attack and not a direct damaging attack, which is why they don't consider that a stackability thing. Because I talked to support about this already, and I had to show them what I meant, and that was their answer, that she doesn't do direct damage. And in all honesty, that would probably make her a little bit overpowered. So I kind of get that, because you think of all that poison over 3 turns that she does with the minions every time, and then you're stacking it on top with a poison weapon. Okay, that's fine. So to get around that, just put it on a different purple hero. And then it will stack. So yeah, it's kind of funny that they don't consider that direct damage, and I sort of get that, and I never thought about it because weapons don't come into play with empires and puzzles. So I'm like, okay, I don't get why this isn't working. This should work. It says it stacks. Well, that's why they don't consider it her special a direct damaging special, like Edge's. So Edge would benefit from that poison weapon, whereas because he is doing direct damage, whereas Talon doesn't. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. There's a pro tip for the day about that one. Alright, so bleed. All targets hit with a bleed. And I don't think this works with her special either, because I've tried it out and not saw the bleed go on there. So I just put the bleed weapons on somebody else, like Lindsay or Crazy Scientist Lady or Umbra, and the bleed will work. But it does not seem to work with Talon at all. Again, it would be that that they consider it a passive and non-direct damaging special. So, but yeah, this is another good one to have. Just make sure it's on a different hero when you do a purple stack. So you guys do get the benefit of it. Alright, and then the other master weapon is the Derringer. Again, and this one is not going to benefit. I haven't tried this one on with Talon. I should, just to see, but I don't think the burn's going to go on. Again, since it's a passive special. That is a good one to put on other heroes, though. This one I can put on Fiona. When I use hers, Fiona hits everybody, and then it's gonna burn everybody too, and then on top of Talon's gonna poison and that as well. So yeah, there's just ways around that, and I kind of get where they're coming from, but at the same time it's just like, really? Shaking my head on that one too. Alright, so Viper Prophet, absolutely awesome for offense with the critical chance. Woot woot. That is always good. Stop that. Keep clicking on stuff. Alright, then this is one that's good defensively too. 105. You're gonna put her at nearly 1500 health. So that's great for a defensive weapon until you've got some 5 stars built up in your roster here. So alright, and then the Enforcer is just armor damage, which I'm not a fan of, so boo. And then the Sentry is health as well. And then the Arnaconda is the other 4-star one, and that is armor damage, and I ended up disassembling the one that I had. So I don't even have it in this account. I do believe I have one in my free-to-play alt account, though. Because I need the variety there, but I was finding that after more than 2 years of playing, I was just taking up more space with weapons that I never ever used, so I got rid of the Arnaconda. So yeah. Oh, that's too bad I don't have a War Machine flag right now, but we actually are on a yellow War Machine. And I could show you my team though. And that needs to be swapped because that wouldn't have been working. I wasn't paying attention, but this is usually one of my setups for yellow War Machines. So she's got the Bulldozer on her, and then these two, Coyote and Lindsay, got critical chance, which will help with the tile damage, and then Crazy Scientist Lady there, who is freaking fantastic, Mirage, has the Buffalo to do bleed, and so does Umbra. So not a bad setup though. Hey guys, really, it's that's a pretty good team. Alright. Yes, save my changes because I didn't obviously check my weapons like I should have before attacking that one. But yeah, so she's a very handy hero. I like her overall. She's another fun hero too. And to build up some of those minions sometimes, like you can get up to 3 on each of your heroes, right? So that's what, 18 between the 5 of them. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 between the 5 of them, now that I can add right. It's pretty cool just to sit back and watch them do damage sometimes. So I use her a lot. She's definitely well worth the mats. And yeah, by all means, guys, she's a good one if you get her. So I will leave it at that and chat at y'all later. Have a good day, folks.